That's the exact reason that why I mentioned that. However, on the future side of things, this is not overbought conditions, so futures can remain buoyant for a while. But SPX, clearly you can see that it is overbought, and clearly you can see that this thing is crossing below. So I want to see come back into the mean. The good thing is that mean is trying to push up, right? Mean is trying to push up. So yesterday, if it were to happen, then mean would be touching 39.68 somewhere around that. Now the mean is around 39.84, 20 points improvement, right? That's a good thing. Even if we hit the mean at 39.80 something and then push below into 39.63, you can still look for a bounce from those levels. That is on the 1 hour chart, which I follow, which I trade, which I base my trades around. And now let's look at the bigger picture on SPX. I was looking for a hit of this number, 4061. We didn't get it. And most likely tomorrow, if VIX starts to come down, so this is my base case to the upside, 4036. If it clears there, then my good to have would be this number, 4061. And the VIX, as expected, if it comes down, then we can get here. And look at that tight range again on SPX. So the range remains intact. Whatever was the range was yesterday, the range expected range remains intact. To the upside, we are still looking for a push into that 4036 number, and to the downside, we are still looking for that 44,000 number. If that breaks below, then we are looking for a push into most likely here 39.85. Then we are looking for 39.63, and if the market sustain the, I don't see a reason for this to happen, but if it in fact does start to push down, and then a sustained push down would bring the markets into 39.32. I don't see a reason for that. However, we'll keep an eye on that. This is my good to have. 4,000 is my base case to the downside. 39.85 is my good to have, and 39.64 is my bottom for now. That's the range I want to see SPX operate under. And if it actually pushes up, and of course we'll do this thing tomorrow, if in fact it actually pushes beyond 4065 or something like that. All right, so right here, so my expectation today was for VIX to actually come back into the sorry, SPX to actually come back into this number, right? And this number should have acted as some serious resistance. And this number, 4060 something, it is also coinciding with this number. So based on that reason, I was pretty sure that it will act as serious resistance here, and we will continue push down from here. That was my expectation, and the push down would come in into its 5 or 8 here and close around 4,000. And then tomorrow we'll come back into this number, clear 4036, and probably push into 4065, whatever this is. That was my game plan for today and tomorrow, but doesn't seem to happen. And sorry, for today, this was the game plan. And for tomorrow, I was looking forward to break this and push above into this number, 41. So, but that did not happen. So, whatever we were planning for today, I'm still expecting that to happen tomorrow. And this line should act as serious resistance. And should we break there, then we're looking for a hit of 5 on the weekly of 41.15. I think this number is, for some reason, this number is important. I don't know why. I don't know what is around that number, but seems like this number is pretty important, 41.15 or something. I'm still trying to figure out why, what is that number and whatnot. But this number seemed to be of some sort of importance on SPX, 41.15. Uh, but let's see how that goes. I don't really have a reason for, I don't really believe in any of those numbers or anything. I just take whatever is given to me and I play according to the current situation. But seems like there is some sort of an importance for that 4115 number, but we'll play with it whenever it gets to it. For now, I don't really care much about it. On the And now let's get back into uh, is that Apple. So Apple clearly, uh, this is what is, and this is the first day of the week. So we have a doji here, right? So this doesn't mean much. However, if I'm looking at the chart here on the Apple, the two standard deviation is sitting somewhere around here. 148 is that second standard or third standard? Second standard deviation. The second standard deviation is sitting somewhere around here, and the phi is sitting somewhere around here, 152. So and this line is again the line in the sand, 151.88 or something like that, and Apple is trying to get back into this line. This is what is happening, 152 something. So this is what is happening right now. Will that happen or not remains to be seen. And to the downside, this is where the downside is capped for now, 143.60 something, and the game is being played between these two lines now. On the regular candle, the super trend 152. On the high Kanashi, the super trend at 143. So $10 range, that's where the game is played right now. And if it breaks below there, I'm still looking for a push into the downside, 143.60. I don't know when that happens. By the way the VIX looks, doesn't seem like there's an interest for Apple to push down into that 143.81 or something like that. However, should the VIX turn around and start to push back up, we will definitely start looking into Apple 143, some around this. For now, a VIX is not cooperating to the downside, sorry, to the upside. So we will look for the markets to the upside. That's what we're doing. That's what I was doing today. That's what I'll be looking to do tomorrow. However, bigger picture, the downside is still valid until and or otherwise, the MACD kind of calms down, and stochastic starts to push around. Until that time, I will still be looking for the downside on a bigger picture. And let's go back into Apple here again today. So we call this doji, right? On Friday, we saw this one and we knew it was going to go up. We kind of played this thing to the upside and whatnot. However, today again we got this. So exactly to a T, it stopped there, 147.48 something. And now the expectation, what is the expectation from this thing? I am still of the camp that says VIX doesn't have enough for it to push to the downside. That's what I'm seeing. And this is the new normal, right? Bitcoin is hovering around this range for a couple of days now. So that's a good thing. And so Apple is hovering around this range. That's a good thing. And now what? If Apple breaks above the 5, then we're looking for a push into 8. 149.83. So this is where it is headed. And here is the 200 on Apple, way up here, 168. At some point in time, Apple needs to go catch up with its 200, or the 200 needs to catch up with Apple. I don't know which one's going to come first. Ideally, so that's a bigger picture. We don't want to care about that right now. But for now, looking at this doji, tomorrow I want to see a push up from beyond right here, beyond this number. So again, the range would be the same for Apple, to the upside and to the downside, both. Looking for 147.70 to the upside, and right about here, 144.33 or whatever this number is, to the downside. And if it breaks below there, we are looking for a push into this number, 143.80. This should act as formidable support here, and we should be bouncing from that. That's my understanding as of now. That might change on a dime, uh, and VIX might take off, and markets, all it takes is some institutional investor dumping. That is all there is to it. And this is intact here. 8 below 21 is still intact. So going by that, I think anytime just one institutional investor starts dumping Apple, and that's all it takes. And for some reason, I've been saying this, I've been voicing this over and over and over again, that you have a status quo to keep, and U.S. markets are, in a way, the status quo to the world, right? If U.S. markets are in turmoil, that means whoever wants that to happen is winning. Basically, it's a symbolic, financial financial victory over us, and you can't let that happen if you are I should have. You get the feeling. What I'm saying is right, but there's no metric to that. There's no metric to that. You can't quantify that with anything. However, you can only have what is what you can uh, feel. Basically, you cannot quantify all that stuff. There's no metric for that. However, that's what I believe. That's what is going on right now. So somewhere, something, somebody's saying that okay, this is enough and you need to put brakes on this sort of a thing. uh, that's what I believe. I don't want to use the words government putting pressure or whatnot. However, you this is sort of a symbolic victory for anybody who wants to see us come down. um, so yeah, and also the midterms are coming and all that. They're it's a long way away right now. However, you have to keep all of that in mind, right? So that's a bigger picture. For now, what we are seeing is we are going by technicals, and the range is still intact. To the upside, 147, something like that, 147.50, that is still intact. And if it clears there, then we're looking for a push into 149.90. And to the downside, 144.57 or 144.30. If that breaks, we are looking for a push into this number here, 143.72. If it breaks below there, we'll look for a further push down. And in fact, if it starts to push above from here, we'll look for a different scenario then. For now, this is all we are looking for. The watch list. Oh, a firm close or UPST close on the red. I'm still holding this position. I don't know why. The reason because I haven't figured out an exit path for this yet. So that's the reason I'm still holding on to this trade. I haven't figured out exit path. I should have gone probably long. I should have bought some shares and should have exited. But hey, it is what it is. I am still in that. Now, the other thing is that this guy, where's this guy? Right here. 10 year. 10 year, we were looking for a push down. We got that. And how far this can go? Let's see here. Whoa. Yeah. So looks like we are making we are trying to make a turnaround. And I would be surprised if it actually comes back into this number, but that number is still intact, 2.7 something. That number is still intact. MACD, this is how MACD takes hold of things, and until unless MACD says gives us a pale red bar, I would still be in the camp that says it's coming down. However, looking by SMI, looks like we'll get that pale green bar, pale red bar tomorrow, going by SMI here. So we got these purple bars done, and then we are getting these red, smaller red bars. Then most likely we'll get our first green bar tomorrow here, most likely. And then if SMI starts to turn, then we'll see this scenario again: one green bar, two green bar. That's what I want to see happening. Uh, and 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 to be honest, I want US 10 year to actually stay at somewhere around here, 3.2 for now. And the next FOMC announcement, I want to see around here, 3.5. That would be good. If, however, if you see 10 year coming back into this number, 2.7, and probably pushing into 2.6, this would be recessionary. I've been harping on that for quite a while now, and anybody who listens to me even vaguely or on a daily basis, now understands why is that recessionary. I'm not saying that there is a recession right now. However, this is very, very, very recessionary for this to come down. This needs to turn around and push up. So, what will happen if this turns around and pushes up? Tech will start taking a beating again. And how far that beating would go, I don't know. But for now, I think if it turns around, tech will start to sell off. And uh, yeah, but that's good. Now let's get into this guy, Tesla. I did not trade it today. However, this is what is happening with Tesla. I was expecting a hit of 700 today. We didn't get it for whatever reason. It came close and it bounced off of that level. And probably we can, if we get into the charts, we'll know why. Right here, I'm still expecting it to happen, 709. And I think we should look for a bounce somewhere around here. And the bounce, I don't know how far it's going to bounce, but after that bounce, I'm expecting Tesla to break below and start come down. That's what I'm expecting from Tesla. Everything is intact. 8 below 21 is intact. Everything is telling us that there's downside. However, it left its gap here. So some way, shape, or form, this needs to be filled. So at some point, it will get filled. Well, I don't really care when, but for now, looks like this is the path of least resistance. So I'm expecting a hit of this number here. So let's hit 709 to 700 tomorrow. That's my base case to the downside. And then let's look for a push up from there. And for it to sustain a push up, Apple needs to keep continuing its march into the daily 8, and perhaps beyond the daily 8. Right now, let's go back into Tesla. Right. So a push down, this is pretty much there, right? This is pretty much there. We know this is going to happen. 708 to 700 number, it will get hit and whatnot. And after this, if it starts to push down, then we're looking for a push into this number for 600. And 600 is attainable. Yeah, it is pretty much achievable at this point. 600 is pretty much achievable. Am I looking for that tomorrow? Absolutely not. So that would be kind of crazy to look for that number tomorrow itself. But make no mistake, this number is coming. It's just a matter of time that Apple starts to push down, and obviously this will coming down. This will start to come down. And tomorrow, let's see a bounce around here, and how sustainable that bounce would be. Well, that remains to be seen. But I'm pretty sure this is my base case to the downside. 706 to 700, and beyond that, if it starts to push down, I don't know where it's going to head into, but I'm not looking for 600 tomorrow. Probably 689, somewhere around that. 689, yeah. uh, but if it starts to come back in and bounce into 750, let's see. So this is the bigger picture. If it starts to bounce, we are looking into 759, 760. If that clears, then we're looking for 785. And not even this. I'll go back into my 1 hour chart. This is the chart that I follow. This is a chart I trade around. Doesn't matter what is the so higher time frames is just something that you need to keep at the back of your mind, what is the direction and which way it's going to go. However, this is the chart that I use for practical, trading. I look at this chart and go down the time frame, probably pick a 5 minute or a 15 minute to exit and enter. Right. So 8 below 21, this happened. There was no freaking way after that. It was sustainable. And we got all the way down here. And now it is getting overbought, oversold on the lower time frame. Now what's going to happen if it start to push in? Should hit right here, upside 727, and let's say my base case would be 731 because this is pretty much sitting there. So my base case, if it clears here, my base case would be here 731, If that clears, then we're looking for a push into 742. So not really plotting anything beyond that. And however, if it actually clears up into this Bollinger Band, inner Bollinger Band, then you're looking for a hit into 752. For now, this is my base case, 731. To the downside, 700, and if it starts to push down below 700, then we are looking for a sustained push into this number right here, 691. And if in fact it goes beyond 691, then we'll start to take a serious look at the downside, and probably 650 and 600 would be the next targets. Cool thing. Next, let's look at Bitcoin. So if you see Dark Sober, he has posted, 4,400 put. So I was into the 400 puts, and right now I'm not into that. And yes, Mario, I was in the 400 puts in a big manner. Now here's the thing, right? When you look into play options, right? When you're looking to play options and you're looking for a target of 400 puts, or 650, whatever the puts, whatever option is, you're not really looking for that spot price to come into that strike price. You're not doing that. What you're doing is you're looking for that put to accelerate, or that option, the premium to accelerate. Essentially, you are betting on gamma to accelerate, based on the underlying price asset and the sentiment of the underlying asset. Right now, based on that sentiment, for it to push down, I was in the 400 puts last week, and I exited that because, as you call it, the quote unquote juice, right? The juice was done, and I exited that. So you are never looking for a hit of that spot price to strike price. You're not into that game. All you're looking for is the acceleration of the gamma and the premium increase on your option. That is all you're looking for. Once you have a satisfactory target, you're exiting that trade. That is it. That is it. Cool. Hope, I hope everybody got that. There you go. 200 bucks on that. There you go. Awesome. Yep. Yep. So, if it comes back into 400, good for us. If it doesn't come back into 400, good for us. However, you're looking for an option of strike price, which would increase the premium. That is all you're looking for if you're a options trader. Never wait for the strike price to come into, never wait for the spot price to come into the strike price. That's a whole different game that you're playing. Okay, cool thing. And now let's get back into this guy. And this is stabilizing right now, fair enough. However, now the debate here is, are we going to see this first or this first? Most likely this, right? Because the VIX is not there, it's not doing much. So I'm expecting a push, into the upside on the weekly. And for now, we're gonna kind of, lay off this 200. However, make no mistake that it is happening. It will come. I don't know when, but this needs to be done. Right? We need to go test this number and perhaps break this number, and then bounce off of this number and probably hover somewhere around here between this range, 26 to 21. This is the range it will be hovering. Probably it might take a month or so, but this is what we want to see on this. And in larger scheme of things, this is where you want to see it go, right? 21. Right now it is bouncing off of this number, but in larger scheme of things, we want to see that break here and push into this number, which it will at some point in time. I did not expect it to bounce super hard from here, but again, this seemed as though, somebody stepped in, somebody with authority stepped in here and said, hey, this is kind of went too far. Take care of business. So that's what this seemed to be. This doesn't seem to be organic to me. That's what I want to say. This doesn't seem to be an organic stability here. I don't know if anybody in retail is going and saying, I want to buy Bitcoin. I don't believe so. I haven't seen anybody outside or in the circle. I haven't seen anybody in the Discord saying that they are interested in buying and holding Bitcoin. If anybody is of that thought process that they want to buy and hold any of the crypto, I would not recommend doing that at this juncture. And if you're into crypto, and you want to buy and hold, give it some time. This is not the time. But if you're trading crypto, this is a great time for that. Doesn't matter how you're trading crypto. Maybe you're trading, the cryptocurrency. Maybe you're trading, I don't know, something like a ETF, or maybe you're trading something like futures, Bitcoin futures and whatnot. So that's the way to go. But buying and holding crypto doesn't make sense here. And I would, again, I'm of the thought process that this is not organic. Somebody stepped in here and said, probably, it's enough is enough. And because crypto is a crypto is quite a sizable asset class, and I think it's a proxy to play a whole lot of things now. And if crypto bleeds, and a lot of things will bleed alongside it. So let's see how this plays. And I am of the view that crypto will go back and test this number, break that number, push into 23, and most likely push into this number 21. This should act as some serious support around here, 2100. And after that, I believe it's going to go down to below 10. I think I strongly believe that it's not even worth 10,000. It's not even worth $10, and it's not even worth 10 cents for that matter. So that's my theory on crypto because it doesn't serve any purpose. It was good, I think. Once I don't know, I still don't understand what's purpose did Bitcoin serve, but it is what it is. People bought it, uh, and then in the hopes that the next guy would buy from them, buy for a better price than what they bought it for. And the technicals are still intact to the downside. Let's see how that goes. However, this is what we do. Uh, Looking at things on on a daily time frame, the average is still pointing up. However, the RSI came back down, whatnot. The average is still pointing up. So let's see a push into if it can clear the 8, we want to see a push. Sorry, if it can clear the 5, we want to see a push into the 8, 36, 30,600. And if it clears there, probably 30,700. If it clears there, we want to see 32, and then probably we want to see it push into the mean, 3424. Right now, maybe I think I'm going way too ahead of myself, but I want to see this, what it does after the MACD crosses over. I've been following this for, pretty much 4 or 5 days consequently. And here I want to see a red, bar up here. So let's see how that goes. Okay. Anybody, any concerns, comments, questions, data points, ideas, anything? Sounds like Dot got a cell phone call about BTC. Yeah. A typewriter would be quieter, better keyboard. Dart. Yes, Al. What's up? And unmute and talk, by the way.
Hey Darth, could you check the Walmart chart on the 1 hour? I know tomorrow they have earnings, but I'm just trying to get better and figure out how to know what to make of this shit. If
Well,
they didn't have,
with earnings, there's, it's always you're playing the unknown. But if I were to go by technicals, I see exactly this is what I see. And if MACD crossover happens, then we're looking for a push down on Walmart into the mean. 145.59, 145.60. This is what needs to happen for Walmart. And this should be my base case, 147.20. To the downside, 147.20 should be my base case. If it breaks below there, 146.65. If it breaks below there, we're looking for 144.28. However, if the earnings are tomorrow and if the earnings come in good, then we are looking for a push into this number right about here, 152. If it breaks 152, then let's see where we are headed. Probably around here, 154.27. This is where we are headed. If the earnings come in good, if the guidance comes in good, and that's where we are headed. But otherwise, if it were not for earnings and stuff like that, we are looking for the downside on based on the weekly chart. And that's what we're looking for. And on the daily chart, where's that? More. So on the daily chart, uh, oh, this should have gone here, just like Apple. It bounced off of no good levels here, and yeah, somebody stepped in here, into the markets, and they said, "All right, this is way too much," and somebody needs to. That's what I. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like organic buying at all to me. Somebody stepped in and said, this needs to stop. Uh, so that's what it feels like. Otherwise, there was no reason for it to stop here uh, instead of going down all the way till 144. But if it comes down, tomorrow earnings are no good. I think you will see 144 pretty much on this stock. And if it breaks below there, probably we'll look for 141 or something like that. For now, if the earnings doesn't come in good, and we're looking for 144.75.
Thank you.
Holding? Yes, sir. Having your stance on crypto. Yep, yep. Crypto does have some utilities, some use somewhere on the internet, but it is not the currency of the internet. It should never be the currency of the internet, crypto. There has to be an alternative. There has to somebody will come up with some sort of an alternative. If it governments that come up with the alternative, maybe the Fed, whatnot, that would be much more sustainable. I would expect the Fed to actually step in because it's a good business for them. They need to step in and come up with some sort of a coin, which is again, I don't see a reason for that. I don't really see a reason for that. However, if the technology is pushing into that whole that you need to have some sort of a crypto, this, that, and the other, I don't see a reason why we would need some crypto whatnot. But if it does, then the Fed should come in and probably create some sort of a crypto, quote unquote, and start to trade that. Yeah, so that would give meaningful stability, and all of this stuff needs to go. There's hundreds and thousands of stupid coins. I don't understand why people even bother getting into those. Again, that's a lotto, right? Like the Doge was a lotto. Then you have the Shiba Inu that happened. That was a lotto. Biggest lotto of all time was Bitcoin. So yeah, these are nothing more than lottos. There is no reason for them to exist. There's no utility for them. There is absolutely no use case for them besides some made up thing like some made up stuff like buying NFT, this, that, and the other. But besides that, in the real world, there is absolute no reason for these to exist. Dollar would do just fine, an international currency. For that reason, you might need this Fed to step in and probably take a very close look at something that they can truly say we are pegged to the dollar. So that would be the scenario that would put an end to all of this nonsense. And yeah, the crypto world is still wild, wild west. So people are making money hand over fist in that world. It's the gold rush. If you remember the expansion into the west side of the America, same thing is happening with crypto right now. Uh, Bitcoin coming down from 67,000 to whatever number it is now has put clamps on that wild gold rush. However, it is still a wild, wild west, and it would continue to be that way for a while to come. And if you're somebody who has an understanding of how to make money out of those situations, yeah, absolutely, you will make hand money hand over fist. uh, you know, try and play as something safe like Bitcoin futures or Bitcoin miners or Bitcoin ETFs, um, but or rather just trade currency on your own. So keep checks and balances every which where. Uh, Use major players that are out there, and those are not FDIC insured or whatnot. And if you get swindled into something, there's no way, nowhere, there's no forum or there's no authority that you can actually go and talk into. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. And there are no customer service that like you talk to your bank and something goes wrong. You can put a stop on that transaction or trace that transaction, whatnot, and it is insured by some sort of insurance or whatnot. But crypto is there's nothing there is absolutely nothing. Once the money is gone, it's gone basically. For you to retrieve that money, it would cost more than just to let it go. Another stablecoin loses peg as algorithm fail to keep pace. Which one is that? BBG? Okay. Yeah, yeah. So the problem with algorithm again is, and that's another reason that you wanted this to stabilize. You wanted Bitcoin to stabilize. That's another reason for that. And you could not have let Bitcoin push down the way it is pushing down. However, the Bitcoin will continue to push down. So all these pegged things, pegged coins and whatnot, besides I think Tether or a couple others, the same thing. They got Bitcoin as a collateral. And the moment you see Bitcoin sinking, the collateral went poof. And that same whole thing is happening again and again and again. And the algorithm, the way that algorithms are designed, that to burn one USD to mint one whatever that pegged coin is, and the more that it burns, the more that it creates. So it becomes a whole imbalance situation where to keep up with demand, it keeps minting more, and the supply just keeps going up, and the vicious cycle kind of continues. And that's hyperinflation for you, right? That's exactly the hyperinflation scenario. If you look at the recent, which one was that? That collapsed. Luna. Luna, exactly the scenario. If you want to compare that scenario to more perhaps Zimbabwe or somewhere, those countries, that's the exact same thing. That's exactly how inflation works. The more the less it gets lesser and lesser Bitcoin, the coin that you want to buy. However, the supply keeps increasing and increasing. So that's exactly how inflation works. More supply, and the thing that you could buy with that supply, the the that the what is that called, the value that would the mint would buy you would be less and less and less with every coin minting. So it's an algorithm, it doesn't understand, it just keeps minting. So yep, that's a death spiral. Whoop. All right, a big whoop. Got all of that. All right, so another thing is this guy, oil again pushing. It cleared above this number, and I don't know where it is headed. Most likely the next spot. I don't want to see it at 117, but looks like that's where it is headed. It has left at 5 here, and if it actually comes back in, That would be nice to see. Uh, yeah, oil is left here. Yep, and this is where it is headed. I think 120. I see everything. Nothing saying me that it's oversold or anything. It's all good here, and the MACD couldn't cross below, and the MACD is still starting to push up, and the macro conditions as well are not supporting a push down on oil prices. And I think the driving season is approaching, or rather here. So I think this thing will continue to the upside. Probably 120 is where it is headed right now. Let's see how it behaves there. Chugga chugga choo choo. All right, guys. If you guys have any concerns, comments, data points, please put forth. Or else we're gonna stop it here, and we'll be doing it all over again in the morning.